Among the three Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, the largest and most populated is Lithuania. Although there are some low hills in the east and west, the country is generally made up of flat plains. Nature plays an important role here, and Lithuanians take great pride in protecting it. Nearly one-third of the land is covered by forests and untouched natural areas. The capital city is Vilnius, and if we look at a map, we can see that Lithuania lies in northeastern Europe, sharing borders with Belarus, Latvia, and Poland. The roots of modern Lithuania go back thousands of years, to around 2000 BC. Back then, Lithuanians lived in small communities and followed the old religion of paganism. But toward the end of the 14th century, they converted to Christianity. And over the next few centuries, Lithuania grew into one of the largest states in Europe. Today, Lithuania has a population of about 3 million, with Vilnius as its largest city. Besides the capital, there are over 100 other towns and cities, each with its own regional importance. Still, most visitors tend to go straight to Vilnius because, as in many countries, the most attractive sights and much of the nation's cultural life are concentrated in the capital. Getting to Lithuania from Turkey is easy. Direct and connecting flights are offered from Istanbul by both local and international airlines. A direct flight takes only about 2.5 hours. You can also reach Lithuania via Riga, the capital of neighboring Latvia, and continue by train or bus. In fact, one of the great things about Europe is that you can travel from one country to another by train, passing through borders with ease, a privilege made possible by the European Union. Normally, we don't spend too much time talking about the weather, but in Lithuania, the climate really affects daily life. The long Baltic winters can be tough, with weeks of gloomy, sunless days. While the country is blessed with more than 800 rivers and over 2,500 pristine lakes, you can only fully enjoy this natural paradise for a few months of the year. The rest of the time, the skies are gray and rain is frequent. In winter, temperatures can drop to -20 degrees Celsius. Because of this harsh climate and limited opportunities, many young Lithuanians have chosen to leave the country over the past 2 decades. But that's not the only challenge. Lithuanians are known for their love of alcohol, particularly beer. On weekends, it's not unusual to see people in Vilnius who have had far too much to drink. And this is considered completely normal. With a large number of Erasmus students adding to the nightlife scene, social life often revolves around drinking. Beer is especially popular. Lithuania has more than 50 different varieties. As for the people, some visitors are surprised to find that Lithuanians can seem reserved, even a bit cold. They can sometimes come across as rude or overly serious, perhaps due to a strong sense of national pride. Smiles aren't common in everyday life, and the limited social opportunities in such a small country can add to that impression. If you're expecting the lively social scene of Western Europe, Lithuania might feel quiet in comparison. Social activities mostly revolve around drinking with friends or enjoying the outdoors with a picnic by a lake. Still, one thing that truly unites the nation is basketball. In fact, it's more than just a sport. It's part of their identity. Lithuanians are so passionate about basketball that it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call the country the homeland of basketball. If you're planning to go there from Turkey, one of the first things you'll notice is that Lithuanian cuisine is quite different from that of many countries. They eat a lot of seafood. Imagine having sea bass, bream, or eel 4 or 5 days a week. And if you feel like having some soup, don't be surprised when the restaurant serves you zucchini soup or even cucumber soup. Oh, and let's not forget, they really love pork. For example, they have a dish called cepeline, which looks a bit like dumplings. But when you take a bite, you quickly realize it's stuffed with pork. Because of the country's poor soil and terrain, Agriculture hasn't really developed here. That's why Lithuanians don't have a very rich food culture. On the other hand, their economy, though small, is steadily growing. Among the Baltic states, Lithuania actually has the strongest economy. Thanks to the European Union, they've received a lot of support in the service and industrial sectors, which makes it unlikely for the country to collapse in a crisis. And even without the EU, Lithuania is still a major destination for international students. Whether through Erasmus programs or private language schools, the country attracts students from all over the world. In fact, an entire student economy has been created here, and it's one of the country's key sources of income. But if you ask me as a student, I'd say look elsewhere in Europe. Since international students are such a big part of the economy, businesses that profit from them promote Lithuania in the best possible light. But if the flow of students slows down, the economy would take a serious hit. Even when it comes to tourism, the country doesn't offer much. It's fairly limited. To give you an idea, Lithuania's population is just under 3 million, and nearly half of them don't even have stable jobs. Of course, the clean air, lakes, peaceful nature, and the fact that it's a European Union country all sound appealing. But finding a well-paying job here isn't easy. Job opportunities are limited, and because of a preference for their own citizens and other EU nationals, foreigners are often left behind. And if you plan on staying long-term as a non-European, you may also encounter the typical European prejudice. This doesn't just affect us, my friends. It's something that people from South Asia and the Middle East face as well. So even if you go for education, you may not find the warmth or hospitality you expect. The country is made up mostly of elderly locals and young foreigners who come for various reasons. Those who leave Lithuania are usually men, often heading to Scandinavia. This has left behind a population where women make up nearly 60%. That makes Lithuania one of the countries with the highest proportion of women compared to men. As a result, you'll often see women driving buses, working construction jobs, or even working as barbers cutting men's hair. Naturally, someone has to take on these jobs, and with fewer men around, many of these sectors are run by women. Lithuanian women generally value peace and love over money or excitement. Many are widowed or have been abandoned by their partners, so what they seek most in life tends to be loyalty and affection. But Lithuania also struggles with a darker side. Every year, about 26 out of every 100,000 people commit suicide. This puts Lithuania among the world's top 10 countries with the highest suicide rates. While about 80% of Lithuanians identify as Christian, society as a whole isn't very religious. Modern lifestyles have weakened the influence of religion, so faith doesn't play a big role in shaping daily life here. Now, if you're thinking of working or settling in Lithuania, you'll need a work visa and a residence permit. The wages are decent compared to the cost of living, simply because it's an EU country. And since many Lithuanians set their sights on wealthier countries like Germany or Scandinavia, jobs back home often remain for women and the elderly. For someone coming from abroad, this can be an opportunity. In fact, if you want to start your working life in Europe, it's easier to get a residence or work permit in smaller countries like Lithuania compared to Germany, Italy, or Switzerland. As long as you have a profession and a clean record, getting approval is quite possible. A residence permit usually takes around 2 months to process, without the heavy bureaucracy you'd face in Poland. Even for unskilled work, you'll earn at least 1,000 euros, since paying below minimum wage is illegal and carries heavy penalties. Currently, Lithuania's minimum wage is around 1,200 euros, and wages usually sit just above that, about 300 to 400 euros higher. Here's another unique fact. Lithuania is the only country in the world with an official cent. Developed by entrepreneur Darius Rutkauskas and his team, The fragrance Lithuania combines wildflowers, raspberries, ginger, sandalwood, and musk. It's described as uplifting, joyful, and distinctive. The project was even supported by the Lithuanian government as a way to promote national identity abroad. Today, the scent is given away at international fairs, tourism offices, and official events. Lithuanians themselves are known for their strong national pride. Even abroad, they often wear clothing or accessories that display their national symbols, or the word Lietuva, which means Lithuania in their own language. In recent years, much like its Baltic neighbors Latvia and Estonia, Lithuania has made impressive strides in its economy and technology sectors. Politically, the country has fully oriented itself toward the West, often pointing to Ireland as its role model. With ambitions of creating their own Silicon Valley, Lithuania has been working to attract international tech companies, research centers, and startups. The results are already showing. According to global financial research, Lithuania has one of the fastest-growing economies in Europe. The startup scene here is vibrant, especially in fintech, IT, biotech, and gaming. Lithuania actually hosts the largest number of licensed fintech companies in the entire EU. On top of that, Lithuanian-made lasers are used by giants like NASA, IBM, Hitachi, Toyota, and Mitsubishi. Their innovations in gene editing technologies have earned international recognition. To encourage investment, the government streamlined and sped up bureaucratic processes. As a result, the World Bank ranks Lithuania 11th worldwide in ease of doing business. Entrepreneurs can open a company and start operations within 24 hours using a digital signature. Lithuania also has a forward-looking urban development strategy. Their Vision 2030 project is designed to prevent chaotic urban sprawl and create modern, sustainable, interconnected cities across the country. This brings us to the end of the video. Until next time, goodbye.